Hi, this is John Doe with the DNB Academy, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a Reese Bass with Serum. Alright, moving on to our project, I just added pretty cool funky break to our loop here. This one's forthcoming on DNB Academy. And what we're going to do is obviously use our buddy Serum to design and craft our Reese Bass. Alright, the main principle of a Reese Bass is having two separate saw waves detune between each other with heavy filtering and distortion on top of it. So that's exactly what we're gonna do with Serum here. Alright, so we have the template, the default patch, on Serum, and we're gonna turn on our oscillator B, so that way we have two separate saw waves. So this is pretty much what we're left with, right? And what we're gonna do now is start detuning every single oscillator here. Let's go to the fine tuning. Can even play a few octaves lower, like you see. So let's keep it like this. Just really simple stuff. What we did here, two saw waves. We just detuned, and you have to pay attention to this one. If you detune upwards on one oscillator, you have to go downwards on the other one. So that way we can create this phasing, which is really characteristic to these Reese basses. So now let's give a bit of a unison on both these oscillators. You can actually go with like something like this, not too much, like alright. Let's maintain the 3 here and get the detune a bit down here. Alright, good. Now, let's move on to our filter. Let's turn it off. Turn it on, sorry. And then we go to notch 24. We're gonna assign it LFO to it, so we can start having some movement. And I'm gonna lower the rate. Let's boost up the drive a bit. And now let's go onto our portamento settings here. Let's turn it on. So this way we can have this really cool glide between our notes. We can even turn on the legato if you want to like have like this perfect glide. Alright, cool. Now let's go to our noise oscillator and choose something like really simple and flat, like white noise. So this will help us achieve a crispier distortion at the end of this patch. It doesn't sound that good now, but when we start like boosting it up with the distortion, you gotta notice the difference. And never forget to turn on your B oscillator here on your filter as well, so we can have both. Cool. So let's go to our effects rack here, and let's start applying some of the Serum internal effects to our patch before moving on to the external processing. First things first, distortion. We just go with a really simple tube distortion. Just boost up some of your drive. And you hear the difference that the noise makes. This is without the noise. But as soon as you apply some noise, we're getting there. Now you can browse through different types of distortion, but usually tube, that's the one to go for these types of sounds. Like soft clipping is okay as well, but I still prefer tube. Better for the tops. Alright, now let's add a bit of chorus. But let's put the mix. This. Let's increase our filter here, so we don't have anything on our lower frequencies. Faster rate. Right. Alright, cool. Let's just decrease our noise a little bit. Alright. Next step would be turning on our compressor, and let's go with multiband here. So this way we can control our frequencies better. We can actually boost the low end, even though we're gonna have a separate channel just for our sub bass. It's just a matter of finding the sweet spot between tops, mids, and lows. I would say something like this would be okay. Now we can actually turn on post EQ to our processing, just to remove some of the muddiness from the mids already. So we just go with a notch here. We'll turn the gain all the way down, and let's go somewhere around 500 hertz area here. As you can hear, it totally cleans up the whole sound, because we're gonna need some more room to process it afterwards. So now that we got our final patch done, which in my opinion is the core of a Reese bass, you can obviously experiment in different ways, but this will be enough for you to develop a really sick and really cool Reese bass. So let's start processing. First things first, we're gonna group it into an instrument rack, so this way we can have our main Reese, or Reese, whatever. And all we're gonna do is just apply some distortion. And I still use, and I'm a big fan of Isotope's Trash 2. So we're just gonna apply some soft distortion, if there's such thing, like that. But we're gonna go with like a clip control. Let's boost this up a little bit here. And I hear a lot of phasing in stereo, which is really cool. But as you can hear, there's not much that I've done to make this sound as good as it is. It's all about tuning everything to perfection almost. So let's use a reverb now, just to give a little bit more room to it, you know. Let's go with Valhalla Room, which is my favorite reverb. And we're gonna choose like something like a bright room. Let's make the high cut somewhere around here, right? Crossover, bass crossover is really important, so we don't mess around with our lower frequencies. Yeah, you can later on make like this cool automations, like you see, really cool. All right, I'm super happy with how this sounds. And one thing we need to have in mind to wrap up this sort of process. There's a lot of stereo and there's a lot of messiness going around our low mids, and tops. And we want our sub bass to be clear and as precise as it can be. And I'm gonna just show you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. Like, I'm gonna play a bit of our bass, and these red tones are behind the green color. They mean that there's stereo in it, you know. So there's a lot of unwanted information around this area. So the process that you have to have in mind is trying to separate the low end from the rest of the actual spectrum. So the best way to do so is to create another chain. Let's make another instance of Serum. We're gonna solo it now, and we're gonna just design like a really simple and default sub bass. So we're gonna choose basic shapes. We go with our sine wave. Let me just play it. Right, it's on the right. Okay, there, we're gonna put the volume up. We need to have some things in mind, like legato and always. It needs to be similar to our bass. That way we don't have like notes playing on top of each other and creating unwanted stuff. So let's put the random phase all the way down, like this. Just pretty standard sub bass. We're gonna increase the volume up until you start hearing some distortion. And look at this. This is with span. Now we have our clean and fully mono sub bass. So we need to actually EQ our main bass chain here, because we don't want all these lower frequencies to be playing on top of each other. That would be unbearable. So we need to actually place an EQ here, and you're gonna create this spot, this crossover, which will be somewhere around, let's say 90 hertz, but let's make a really steep curve, so that way we won't get any information, or at least pretty much none. Let's use our span to visualize it. It's really important. See, now we have room for our sub bass, but we could still got this a little bit more. So now we have room for our sub bass, but it doesn't matter. We can have a bit of a stereo field here. He actually creates a really cool and evolving Reese Bass sound. So now let's just unmute and rename this as our sub bass. And now let's play both layers together. We can actually go with like lower notes, like there you go. We can actually write like a really simple line here for our break. All right. Sounds good to me. Just put our midis in place. Decrease the volume a little bit. There we go. And just to wrap things up, something that's really common when it comes to these basses, is to apply a filter at the end. And this way you can actually play around with your bass and make like, if you don't want to go like really aggressive Reese Bass sound, you want to just go with this lower filtered bass, then this is a something you can do and actually play around with the automation here. So yeah, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.